All right, y'all. Are we ready for this? Are we ready to start talking about this show? What's up, everybody? Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you are hailing from. This is your boy Renee here on a Wednesday. What's up, everybody? Star-Lord is in the house on this fine day. What's up, my main? Already spoiling things. They killed Kenny. Damn it, you bastards. That's right. That's it. So what happened in episode 1 is that they introduced Kenny from South Park, and then in episode 2, he dead. That's it. Goodbye, everybody. No, I'm just kidding. No, that's not how things turned out. But could you imagine? Could you imagine if that's basically how things went down? That would be kind of crazy. That would be kind of nuts. Star is saying he's feeling a little extra behaved today. Well, we'll see. Things can change as the stream goes on. But I'm definitely going to not probably be on that long because I just really want to focus on just talking about the Acolyte episodes 1 and 2 that debuted on Disney Plus last night here in the United States. What the hell was that? I just heard something. What? Oh man, is it going to be another one of those mornings where I'm just having extra stuff coming into my ear? Wait, that didn't sound right now, did it?
I'm gonna come.
All right, it's off the rails already. We haven't even gotten to the nitty-gritty stuff yet. How's everyone this fine day? This fine early morning. How's everyone doing? Let me know. Sound off in the comments. Would love to hear things. I am in the middle of trying to set up some things here or just clean up some stuff. So I do apologize. I'm gonna get things situated. If I just need a little extra time to do so. Let's see here. I just want to pull something up. Give me a moment. Don't pull a Jedi death on you. I'll try not to. Although, if you do see me quickly just vanish into thin air, then that might be a weird sign of how things are going to turn out. Okay. Let us look at that. You're seeing some behind the scenes work happening here live. All right, that looks good. All right. Okay, this my Stream Deck is pissing me off. Okay, so just so you know what's going on in my ears right now, it's so stupid. There's a bug in the Stream Deck app. If you don't know what that is, it's like, you know, the little thing. It's a little device that helps you like use it as a soundboard, switch scenes, do all this kind of functionality on your computer. When you're using it for music or sound effects or anything that is audio related, there's this bug that if you stop it exactly on, like at the very last note, at the end of the sound clip, especially for music, it gets stuck in some weird loop where it sounds like it's off, but then all of a sudden, a minute later, you'll hear the last note pop up again. So it's like every minute I'm just hearing the ending of whatever last song I played. And it's the most annoying thing, and it happens often. So I'm just I have to now reboot my Stream Deck and all this kind of stuff. I know, it's exciting stuff. There we go. See, now there was a delay for that because I just restarted everything. But, woo! All right. I am now set up. I think I'm ready. I am also now officially live on YouTube Shorts. So, what's up, Shorts community? As always, with every stream, you have the choice of watching this stream in two different options. You could watch it the traditional way, usual way, if you're on your TV and all that. But if you love the TikTok style, the Instagram style, it is now also available vertically on the channel there through the YouTube Shorts format. So I am now live there, and that should be popping up any minute. It's like I'm a DJ. I'm working all the different boards and monitors. Starlord gets both notifications. Well, that's good, because I've heard from some people that they don't get any notifications, even though they have it all check marked and all that stuff. So YouTube is a funny thing, man. It is a funny, funny beast. Even myself, I have subscribed to other channels, have it set to notify whenever they go live. And this past week, not a single notification, and they went live 3 times this past week. So yeah, YouTube is funny. It's funny. But all that aside, let's talk about Star Wars: The Acolyte. Just curious from anyone who is now watching here live, how familiar you are with the show. What did you know about the show going in? And what was your anticipation level like? I'm very curious. Let's start things off with that. And while you think about that, and while you share your thoughts about that in the comments, the way that this is going to go this morning is that I'm first going to give non-spoiler review commentary on the first 2 episodes that dropped last night. Give my thoughts and feelings on how everything turned out, some things that I was, excited for, some things I liked, some things I didn't like. And then we'll do the remainder of this stream talking about certain spoilers here and there, and just doing more of like a recap of the 2 episodes. So I'll make sure to have a certain tag on the screen once we get into the strict spoiler territory of the discussion here. But as of right now, you're all safe. So do me all a favor, for those of you watching live, please do not throw in any kind of spoiler stuff in the comments until we get to that portion of the stream. Cool? Everyone cool with that? All right. What's up, Eli? Nice to see you here. Hope you're doing well. Hope you are looking forward to this Star Wars Acolyte conversation we're about to have. And if you haven't seen the episodes, don't worry, because I'm going to spend this first part talking non-spoiler stuff about it. Starlight, I love it. It literally feels like it's way in the beginning before the prequels. That is exactly my thoughts on it too. So, okay. So I watched the 2 episodes last night, and I'm just going to, let's see, hold on. Give me one moment here. Live chat. I am going to, okay, Janine, I don't know why you're trying to share your WhatsApp with us, but we're not interested. So I am going to remove you. Okay. Give me one moment. What's up, Geek Ledger? Nice to see you here. Hope you're having a good day, and I hope you're ready to talk about Star Wars today. Starlord, it gets a lot of crap, but I think it's a cool show. It's interesting the kind of crap that it's getting. Now, I decided not to look at any reviews, not to read any reviews, not to watch any review videos at all. I decided to do that so that I can honestly sit here and talk to you guys without any bias, without any preconceived notions or thoughts or anything in my head. I know that certain people were treated to watch the first 2 episodes a week or 2 ago. I didn't watch any of that stuff. I know that reviewers were given the chance to watch 4 episodes, so I didn't hear or read anything about any of that stuff. What's going on, Striker? Big fan of Star Wars. Awesome, then you are in the right place. I hope you had a chance to watch The Acolyte. Arnold, what's going on? Nice to see you back here. Yeah. So I will talk about my feelings on this series so far. So I hope you are looking forward to having this conversation we're about to have. So, but awesome to have you back here. Great to see you here, and I hope you're having a good day so far. Well, you're now approaching your evening, right? So I hope your evening has turned out to be great. Starlord, no reviews for me either. I know what I know. Geek Ledger, I enjoyed it. I wasn't completely blown away, but it's a good show. I think I'm feeling the same way about this show I felt about Andor. Yep. Okay. You guys are basically saying the same sentiments that I had for this. So, watched the 2 episodes last night. And the first thing that caught my attention was that it had that Star Wars feel to it. It really did. It felt like I was watching kind of like a cinematic version of Star Wars on a TV show. Very similar to how I felt when the first episodes of The Mandalorian dropped. Very much how I felt when the first episodes of Andor dropped. It definitely felt a little bit more Rogue One-ish than the prequels in a way. The one thing I will say I don't like, but I understand why they're doing this too, is if you notice there's like a weird film grain that layers over the episodes. And I'm pretty sure we're going to be seeing that for the entire show. One, I think they're doing that to kind of give it more of a cinematic film-like effect and feel to the series. And two, it's an easy way to kind of help mask and hide the special effects and the CG that they have to use in certain scenes. Just like when in the beginning of the first episode, she goes into this cantina and there are a lot of aliens in this cantina. And what I do appreciate about the show is that they utilize a lot of practical effects. So you have creatures in costume and, you know, puppets and all that stuff, which is great. But there are certain parts of the aliens that they are actually using CG and animation on, especially with the facial expressions. You know, there was this one part where you had certain aliens around a table that were laughing, and you can kind of tell that some of that was CG done through CG. But it's not as noticeable, and it's easy to mask because of that certain film grain that they have on top of it. What's going on, Chris? Chris says he thought it was just okay. All right, that's fair. And it also kind of helps mask a little of the digital editing they have to do for certain fight scenes. And we saw that in the first episodes where you had Carrie-Anne Moss's character of Indara fighting Amanda Stenberg's character, right? And they do what they're starting to do in a lot of these action movies that we're getting lately. One great example is Roadhouse, is where they're digitally kind of speeding up the fight scenes between the actual actors because they're probably doing it a little bit slower, but they want it to be like quicker pace to actually look and feel like a fight, like a legit fight. So they do a lot of like the speeding up and the digital kind of like zooming in and out and all that. So that's something that is easy to mask once you have a grain like that over. But for someone like me, I can easily catch it and see it, which, you know, I hate that it's so obvious to me sometimes, but that's just how it is, right? But the tone that was set is very much around like the Rogue One Andor type of scenario where it's not very hokey or kind of like hopeful and all. It is during a time or during a moment where they're going through an investigation because they're finding out that someone is out there killing Jedis, right? And this is not a spoiler. This is stuff that you've already seen in the trailer. So far, the series feels very much like a true crime thriller kind of genre show, which I like. We're getting a sense of, and this is the first time in live action form that the Jedi are very much like space marshals, right? You have the Galactic Republic, right? And the Jedi Order living in harmony during a time when there is like extreme peace, nothing crazy going on, no major wars really happening. And you have to also keep in mind This is during a time when there was no such inclination of Sith, according to what the Jedi know as of at that moment. This is 100 years before the Phantom Menace, but this is the tail end of what they dub as the High Republic, which is a big focus for Lucasfilm right now, especially if you are a fan of a lot of the books. There's a huge slew of books out there covering the High Republic era. So it is during the time when the Jedi are supposed to be in abundance and ruling the galaxy. They're out there, right? The show, kind of help explain that, where on certain planets there are Jedi outposts. So they definitely have their numbers out within the galaxy, which is pretty awesome to see. Geek Ledger said, I personally thought that it felt like the Phantom Menace and the Dooku episodes of Tales of the Jedi. Just seeing Jedi in their prime and interacting in different ways was great. Totally agree with that. Star-Lord, the rules are a bit different, which I like. Yep. Arnold, what do you think of the design of the lightsabers? I found the series very good so far. Quite surprised by the quality. Yeah, the quality of the series, like I was saying before, felt very cinematic. I really feel like they took their time to nail a certain tone and look for it. And in a way, it's kind of more of an homage to the George Lucas imagining of Star Wars versus, and I hate to say this, the Disney kind of filter of what they think Star Wars should look like, which is more kid-friendly, more kiddie and all that. This definitely feels a little bit more serious. It definitely kind of teeters around kind of a more serious sci-fi show than we've gotten. At one point, I was kind of afraid that I was leaning a little bit maybe towards a more young adult kind of theme and tone. But then there are other things that happened that I was like, no, it's not too much of that, which is something that I was afraid of going into this, to be honest with you. And what going back to what Star-Lord said, the whole thing about the rules, I do appreciate that it's a little bit different because you get different aspects of Jedi here, right? You have the main character of Saul, played by Lee Jung-jae, right? Who you all should know from Squid Game if you ever watched that series. He feels a little bit more like Qui-Gon to me. And if you remember the story of Qui-Gon, Qui-Gon was one of the guys that he was very much into the Jedi Council and rule and order, but he's not afraid to kind of disagree. And he's not afraid to go against the grain at times. And I feel like we're getting a little bit of that with the character of Saul. And then on the complete opposite, the character of Yord, played by Charlie Bennett, is more of the stickler. He is more like the rules guy, right? He was just crowned Jedi Knight, which he kind of talked about when he first finally gets reunited with Amandla. And you could tell he's very much like, everything has to be this way because this is what I was taught. This is how everything goes. So it does create that interesting dynamic there. And then, of course, you have Daphne Keene's character of Jackie, who is the young Padawan of the group. So you have this trio of like detectives that are, kind of investigating the events that are happening. And it's very different. I don't think we've ever gotten anything like this. Not counting, of course, the Clone Wars or Rebels or anything like that. But in live action, this is the first time that we're getting a sense of this is what the Jedi do during that time. They're like the marshals, the space marshals that work along with the Republic. So it's just very interesting to see how the Jedi Order was back then. Because, look, I don't read the books. I don't have time to read the books these days. And I'm sure a lot of this stuff has been explained in the books. But this is the first time that I've been exposed to this type of stuff in live action format. I've seen a lot of this happen in the cartoons, of course. So, Arnold, let's see, are there actually characters who lived during this time and might also appear in the series? I don't know personally. I know that at the end of episode 2, and again, no spoilers because we've seen this in the trailer, we get teased with a Jedi Wookiee, right? Now, this is not the first time there was a Jedi Wookiee in the whole Jedi Order. In the High Republic stories, in the books, I heard that there was another Wookiee Jedi that is around. So for those who don't read the books, this is our first exposure to a Wookiee Jedi, because like, wow, come on, get out of here. We actually have a Wookiee that's also a Jedi. Like, give me more of that, please. But it's not the first time in the whole lore and canon of the Star Wars universe, you know. But outside of that, I don't know personally as to what may be popping up in this series. Geek Ledger. Star-Lord. Since when was Star Wars ever rated R? Anyways, never. It was never meant to be. Geek Ledger, I could see this running for multiple seasons and slowly building to a Sith reveal for the audience, because Leslie Headland has said she has the first season written in an outline for seasons 2 and 3. Yes, I think, and I don't know if you could believe it, but I think I read a headline from Nerdist this morning saying that season 2 was already greenlit today. I'm not sure if that's true. Take it for a grain of salt, but I won't be surprised if that announcement is made sometime soon. She also said it hasn't been renewed yet, and she has a fitting season 1 ending if it doesn't get renewed. See, I like hearing that. You know, and this is what I think more and more creators should do. And has been one of my gripes about Hollywood and when it comes to movies. Everyone tries to create things that could potentially lead to sequels and follow-ups. So they love leaving like little open ends to their movies and all that in hopes that things can be franchised, right? But not everything can always be that way. So the fact that she wrote a satisfying ending without knowing if there will be a pickup afterwards, I think that's great to hear. Disney don't affect Star Wars that much. It's more of the showrunners. Well, yes and no. I again, you have to think of it this way. Everyone reports to a hierarchy, right? As of right now, Dave Filoni is now the head of creative when it comes to Disney, when it comes to Lucasfilm, right? So everyone works with Filoni for everything. Filoni reports to Kathleen Kennedy, right? Kennedy is the main honcho on the Lucasfilm side of things. Kathleen Kennedy reports to Bob Chapek, who, of course, is the overall guy in Disney. If Chapek tells Kennedy, we need more of this, Kennedy is going to tell Filoni, hey, I think we should do more of this. And then Filoni is going to talk to everybody else and say, hey, word from the top, I think we need a little bit of this. And let's try to keep it the way that it's still true to our creativeness and our storylines. But maybe we need to kind of push a little bit of this and push a little bit of that. So yes, showrunners do play a major part. That's why every series of Star Wars and every series of like the Marvel universe feels different. But there are certain things and notes that they usually would have to follow. Again, I'm not behind the scenes there. I could be totally wrong, but that's what I would assume. Arnold, I think it's very good how they chose the actors for the series. When I see how they bring the emotions across, I'm very impressed by the seriousness of the series. Yeah, actors play a huge part in this, especially if you have some veteran actors in it too. I've always liked Lee Jung-jae. I've seen him in some Korean movies before Squid Game became big. Great actor, right? Amanda has been in the game for a bit now, right? Even though I've been seeing some discourse online that her acting is very stiff, I don't see any problem with that. I feel like that's kind of just the personality of the character. Daphne Keane proved to be a very great actress, even at a young age. Remember, she was X-23 in Logan, so we saw how crazy of an actress she was during that time. Of course, you have Carrie-Anne Moss, and Charlie Barnett is new to me, but I know he's been around for a while. So, do we like Star Wars Acolyte? So far, at least from those who are here, and Mike himself included, we're liking it so far. Chris, who maybe still be watching, said it was okay, but other people have seemed to say that they are digging it so far. Arnold Lee is a legend for me. Yeah, man, he's been around for a minute. And he's a very solid actor. Star Wars needs a little comedy and character. Well, if Taika Waititi comes through with his script for the Star Wars movie, we're definitely going to be getting a lot of the comedy whenever that comes out. I always thought Disney was perfect for giving it that. Let's see. Geek Ledger Leslie Helen also said she wants to take a break after season 1 if it gets renewed so she can take in some of the criticism of season 1. She did that with Russian Doll a few years ago. Well, I think any good creative should be able to do that for themselves instead of treating it like a factory. That's one of the reasons why we've had so many issues with a lot of the Marvel stuff, because they keep churning and churning and churning and churning and spitting things out. Take some time to digest everything, right? Get the fan reaction. Don't necessarily cater to the fans 100%, but take the criticism and help improve on your craft. I think that's always important. Star would say, I like him too from Squid Game. This actor is going places. Yeah, no. Lee Jong-jae is huge. He's major. Yeah. So, again, going back to my thoughts and feelings on the series so far, I also really appreciate that we're getting another view of how Jedi conduct themselves when it comes to conflicts and confrontation. I think what we've seen or what we're accustomed to seeing is that bad guy in front of us, lightsaber lit up, let's go, right? And I feel like that has been a case for a lot of situations that we've seen. But we're seeing the Jedi be a little bit more diplomatic here, and there are certain rules that are shared with us that we were not really privy to in the past. When we had Amanda's character fighting Carrie-Anne Moss in the first episode, Carrie-Anne doesn't even use her lightsaber for most of the battle until closer to the end. And the minute she does, Amanda's character says to her, it's like, Jedi only ignite their sabers when they're, prone to kill or where they're ready to kill somebody. And that was something that was never shared with us before, and that was very, very interesting. I thought a lot of the fight scenes were done in a way that it was more force fighting, not so much reliance on weaponry, which is kind of refreshing. It was very much force pushes here, force stuns there, and it was just a lot of fighting with the force, which we've seen in some of the cartoons and we've seen in some of the video games, but we've never seen really in full-on live action format. And I thought it played out extremely well. It was very, very smart the way they did all that. And there is definitely a lot of more Asian style fighting, a lot of like the Crouching Tiger style, the old school Hong Kong movie style of fighting here, which is refreshing as well, because we've never gotten that type of fighting style in Star Wars before. So it's like that we're kind of getting introduced to this new way the Jedi kind of conduct themselves. And, they really act like officers and marshals in this case. So I really, 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 really dig that so far. Star-Lord, I don't care what they do, Star Wars, but they better impress me. Comedy, drama, horror, romance, true crime, etc. Action. Arnold, did you also notice in the cover photo who the Jedi is wearing the purple lightsaber? I didn't notice it at first. I didn't. I should probably go back and look at that. But I do like that we're finally getting Jedi with all different color lightsabers. The only time in live action we were introduced to a different color lightsaber was one in the prequels when Mace Windu had the purple saber, which wasn't even planned. That was demanded by Sam Jackson. So I thought that was cool. And then Daisy Ridley, Rey's lightsaber was like a yellowish saber, right? So I like that Yord has a very yellow-orange looking lightsaber, which is actually pretty cool. So I like that. Chris, maybe when more episodes come out, I'll have a better feel of the series. Chris also says, I think that's why I watched too much Kung Fu flicks that it was sort of to me. Okay. The thing is, it's like, that didn't bother me at all. I found it refreshing. Because I think we are so used to a certain style of fighting styles in Star Wars that it's nice to get introduced to something different. That's one of the reasons why I still think the fight scene between Ahsoka and the Magistrate in The Mandalorian was one of the coolest fight scenes I saw, because it was very different, more Bushido samurai-like, which is a different style of fighting. So it was nice to kind of see that in Star Wars, and to be able to explore the differences that can happen with certain training and all that. Geek Ledger, did y'all see that Rolling Stone article that said some super racist stuff about Lee Jung Jae and Charlie Bennett? I have not. What did Rolling Stone say about that? I'm surprised Rolling Stone would actually put out an article like that. Share with us. I'll be very curious to know what that was about. But yeah, the fight scenes I thought was very refreshing in how they handled all that. We got a lot of different planets in this one. A lot of different planets. And I love how with every planet stop, they let us know this is where we are. This is where we are. So it helped kind of give it more of that investigative true crime type of genre feel to it, which is very nice, and a nice little touch to it too. Leslie, what's going on, Leslie? The stream right now, we're talking about Star Wars Acolyte. We're discussing the first 2 episodes that dropped. So if you had a chance to see it, then you're very welcome here to join in the conversation. If you haven't, and you don't mind us talking about it, then we welcome you as well. Arnold, when you watch the new Star Wars films, the lightsaber fights weren't really successful, and that you now work more with power, and I think the body is a good change. I agree. Again, it's a nice, refreshing feel that the dependency is not so much on the weapons, which is, I mean, with Amanda's character, she does because she is more seeking revenge and death. So she's going to do whatever she can to, accomplish that. Plus, she's baiting the Jedi. If you notice in the episodes, every time she confronts someone, she's like, attack me. Give me a reason why I should kill you. I don't want to be the one to first do it. And as we've known, and this is slight spoiler here, I'll quickly mention this before we go more into further detail. Her master seems to be instructing her in ways that you should do certain things to achieve a certain level. Kill someone without using a weapon. Don't attack first. It seems to be certain things that she has to follow in order to appease the master and to get to a certain level, which is very interesting. Nothing that we've seen before, but also this is a result of self-training and kind of creating your own kind of way of quote-unquote Jedi, which is very, very different from the time that they're in now. Let's see here. Star-Lord, as a fan of martial arts movies, I give it my blessing. Since when do we ever get martial arts movies anymore? We really don't. We really don't anymore. I feel like that genre has already... That's like such an old school genre that we don't get enough of that anymore. Geek Ledger, I believe one of the phrases used was rooster haircut for Charlie. When talking about Lee, the journalist said that his line reading was obvious and that Lucasfilm should have hired an English speaker. Well, that's messed up. That's really messed up. So explain to me in the prequels why the Trade Federation, why those aliens sound like they're strictly from China. Stop it. That's a dumb take. Everything in UFC cage fighting now looking at you, Roadhouse. That's true. Arnold, but I'll say this, it can change a lot. I'm curious how the closest episodes are. Yeah. Well, look, this was definitely a nice tease to set the tone for the series. I'm hearing rumors that in episode 3, the next episode that's going to debut next week, something's going to be introduced to once again kind of change the way we think about the Force. Now, I don't know how that's going to come across, and I don't know how many people are going to be in an outrage of whatever is revealed. I personally don't know what it's going to be about, but is it going to be along the same lines of when George Lucas introduced us to the midichlorians in the prequels? and how that was like this new thing that no one knew about. Notice how they've quickly kind of went away from that in every new Star Wars things now. So I don't know what that's supposed to mean, but it's going to be very interesting. But I also feel like, again, this is during a time, and I'll say this, when the Jedi are kind of too prestige for their own good, I think, and they may be a little bit in over their head that they're no longer in a mindset where they have to think that there are possibilities that there could be people out there who are going to want to go against what we believe in and what we do, right? Amanda's character is someone that used to be part of the Jedi Order. She left, right? And at no given point did the Jedi think, you know, we trained her. I don't think she's going to do anything bad with the training, right? Just saying, right? So they never really thought about that stuff. And I think what's going to happen here is that it's going to force them to start thinking and understanding that there are going to be forces out there that are going to be going against them. And maybe go back to the old Jedi books and start learning about conflict and revisiting those moments that could possibly happen. All right. I just want to make sure I catch up with a lot of the chats here. Geek Ledger, I love that the Acolyte got rid of the stereotypical Chinese accents for the Trade Federation. That was a positive change. I totally agree. I did find it also funny that we got the Trade Federation showing up it was in episode 1, right? Because Amanda's character works on a Trade Federation ship as an astrotech, right? So this, another thing that we've never seen before. What's going on, Lil Sa? Thank you. Just want to make sure I shout you out. I don't want to miss your comments and your chats there. We've never seen actual individuals being astrotechs, which was like a refreshing thing. And they even make a comment about that. How when Amanda was talking with Daphne Keene's character, and she's like, well, I'm an astromech. That's why I know how ships work. And she's like, well, I thought was that androids were only doing that stuff. Like your R2-D2s and all that. And then she says like, well, I'm more flexible and blah, 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 this and that. So basically saying that I can do things that these robots can't, because we're so used to seeing, your little R2s or your R5s going out there whenever a ship needs repair. I'll always remember in the Phantom Menace where you had all the R2 units going out trying to repair the ship, and they're getting blasted away and blown away. And of course, R2 is the only one that was able to survive. And hence, R2-D2, this guy gets a commendation like that. So it's really interesting to actually see individuals being astromechs, which is something that we've never seen before. And that's a slight spoiler again from the episodes here. I also agree that, I disagree about the whole rooster haircut thing. We've seen art of young Jedi, especially like Padawans, with that style, with that certain style of hair. I don't know if that is a common thing with Jedi during that time. Very much like how the Padawans always have that braid. So I don't know what that person was trying to say on Rolling Stone. I think that's really stupid. No one ever said who the hell voiced Master Yoda. That's true. Should have hired an English teacher. Articles are full of it. Yeah, I don't know. That article just sounds really ridiculous to me. Arnold, maybe they'll make a Philly cheesesteak sandwich. It'll be funny if they like walk into a cantina and then all of a sudden it's like, hey, what do you want to eat? What you got? What's your specialty? Oh, we got something called Philly cheesesteak. We heard about this from some other planet in the Outer Rim. Maybe they can revisit, what was that diner that was introduced in the prequels? With the big guy with the multiple arms scratching his ass. It'll be funny if they go into some sort of diner like that. Old school diner setting. Man, that's hot. Woo! Fresh hot coffee. Was not prepared for that. All right. So yeah, so overall, I was really pleased with the first two episodes, and they introduced some interesting concepts and ideas, especially when it comes to the Jedi. I love that, like I said, it feels like Star Wars, but it definitely feels a little different, which is kind of refreshing. It doesn't feel like anything that we got in the sequels. It doesn't feel too much like what we got in the prequels. It has hints of it for sure. It definitely feels more like an Andor, Rogue One kind of feel. And the fact that, fingers crossed, that we're not going to get any ties into anything like directly is also refreshing to know, because what I first loved about The Mandalorian was that I thought it was going to be definitely a series that lived on its own up until they started tying in the Rebel stuff, right? And the Clone Wars stuff. So then we got, Ahsoka kind of tied in there. We got all these other things kind of tied in there. I was like, okay, well, this is Filoni, so of course he's going to want to do all that. So now we're getting a live action version of his cartoons, which nothing wrong with that. I was fine with it, but it's nice that we got something that seems to be okay to stand on its own for a change, which is great. And, a lot of people, myself included, have been begging for a Star Wars storyline that takes place way in the past during the High Republic, Old Republic days. So it's nice that we're finally getting that. And again, these are just the first two episodes, so we'll see what they do with the rest of the series. Arnold, did the Mandalorians already exist at the time? I think they did. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure that Mandalore does exist. But I'm not exactly sure about that. Star Wars 7, overall, I'm fine with it. Nothing bothered me at the end of the day. It was more Star Wars, better than no Star Wars. True. However, I would prefer more good Star Wars versus more meh Star Wars, right? But it's good. It's a good start. It definitely is a good start to the series so far, and I really, really thoroughly appreciate it. All right, I am going to put on the big spoiler sign here so that we can now just feel free to talk about spoilers for the two episodes. So if you don't want to be spoiled on anything about the Acolyte, then maybe bookmark this, save this, come back to this video later. Share your thoughts with us after you have a chance to watch the series. But now everyone in the chat, feel free to talk about some of the things that you loved about the shows that kind of was a spoiler. And let's have at it. I'll start here. Did anyone see it coming that she was a twin? Did anyone see that coming? I didn't. And I thought that was an interesting twist to it all, where Amandla, the actress herself, is playing two characters in this series, which is very interesting. And I was not expecting that at all. I think they did a very good job at kind of masking that and hiding that in the trailers and all. And again, I avoided hearing anything about the show, reading up on anything about the show. So I love the fact that they are twins and that we're dealing, in a way, a very parallel situation to Master and Apprentice, because there's always what's the rule? There's always a master to every person, right? So it's the rule of two, but there's always two, right? So I love that, in a way, it kind of plays on that concept. And if you look at the episode titles, every title of the episode has two titles in it. And it contrasts each character and what they're going through at the moment. You have May, who is seeking revenge because of something that happened to her on her original planet. The whole story and the concept behind it all was, Amanda's characters, the sisters, are from this planet. There was a major fire that the sister started because she was angry. Something took over her. She was angry with the family and angry, burnt their house down, killed their parents, and the Jedi that were on that planet tried to save them. Saved one, thought the other one perished, and then went about their business and all that. Turns out that the other sister survived, and now she has this very vindictive thing against the Jedi that were there, and it is now her job to fight and kill the Jedi that were on that planet. And Saul, Lee Jong-jae's character, is one of the Jedi that is targeted for that revenge business. Arnold Wentel says yes, meaning yes that you did expect that to happen, or you were surprised by it. Chris, the forehead in the episode was something with May that made me hunch a twin scenario. Okay. I guess yeah, you guys are better than I am. Mev is for impossible expectation with haters at the helm, preparing people for the worst. Oh, that's going back to, yeah, what I said before. I get it. So I love the concept that, we have Amanda playing two characters here, and it's going to be, it looks like we're going to have a sister versus sister scenario here, which is actually pretty cool. Also, big surprise, Indara, Carrie-Anne Moss's character, dies in the first episode. Wow. That was another big shock to me. Especially since she was like all over, the promotion and marketing for this. Now, I'm pretty sure we're going to see flashbacks, I think. Or is Carrie-Anne Moss's character not dead? What do you all think? Because there are scenes that we were teased in the trailers where it looks like we're going to get more of her. So I'm sure that could be either flashbacks or maybe she's still alive, right? But as of what we know right now, her character died off after the fight with May in the very beginning. Star-Lord, because an actor said Anakin blew up the Death Star, who cares? So, I saw that interview. That interview that went viral with Charlie Bennett. Is that right? And, well, it's funny. A lot of people are not only giving him shit, but they're giving the interviewer shit too. Perry Nemiroff, because she should have known better to correct her. To correct him, I'm sorry. That's not her job. Arnold says, I kind of thought she was a twin. Chris says she's not dead. It's too early. How do you know? That could be a big twist, right? Like that could be just something that, hey, look, Carrie-Anne Moss is on this show. Oh, I got to go watch it. Oh, we're going to kill her off in the beginning. That would be ballsy. And I would stand up here and applaud Leslie Headland if that was really the plan here, right? And say, this is how I'm going to treat this series. You don't know what to expect. And I think more creators should be ballsy like that. Why not? Yeah, but it was right on where the stab wound was right directly to the heart, though. And if she didn't even have a chance to react, right? I'm curious how she gets her crystal for the lightsaber. I'm sure we're going to see that. It'll be interesting to see how that turns out. I also like the fact that, we're getting a lot of new planets here. And we're not relying so much on retreading planets that we're already familiar with. Yes, with the exception of Coruscant, because they can't get away from that. That's where the Jedi Council is, right? But at least we didn't spend so much time in Coruscant. I love that we are definitely exploring more of the universe, which is great. I'm also very curious about Rebecca Henderson's character of Vernestra. There's something about her too that kind of, I wonder how her character arc is going to turn out, because she's definitely one of those by the book type of Jedi, but I also feel like there may be a conflict between her and Saul eventually later on down the line. And of course, I think all of us are just waiting to see what the big reveal is going to be, like who the master is going to be. So not one content creator who hates the show will upload a respectable pic of the characters. It's propaganda. You know what I found really funny? You know, some of the reaction channels, obviously Real Rejects is the, I guess right now would be considered the standard when it comes to the reactions, right? So I saw their thumbnail pop up, and then I saw another thumbnail of another reactor who doesn't really do reactions, but I know they're friends with the Real Rejects, and they literally copied the same thumbnail and just had their face on it. And I was like, bro, you're not even trying to be different. You're not even trying to stand out on your own. You're trying to have people click on you thinking they're clicking on a Real Rejects video. And I was just like, that's just so bad. That's just terrible. I'm like, come on, man. Try a little bit, at least. It's so bad. Chris, maybe she will get the Fennec Shan treatment with a surprise reveal she survived. That would be interesting. Maybe make her half robotic. Arnold, I found the place very important where she said Jedi pull her lightsabers only when they are. Yeah, that's something I definitely mentioned before. I love that because that is a part of the training. What's going on, Kevin? Nice to see you here. People going to complain no matter what Star Wars release TV shows or movies. Of course, Kevin, there's always going to be haters. There's always going to be detractors. There's always going to be people that will go against the grain just to be different. You know, that's just how the internet is. We've kind of gotten used to that. You know, it is what it is. You know, if I didn't like the episodes, I would be honest. I would say, hey, I thought these things were bad. You know, Chris said it was just okay. That's perfectly fine. You know, and we can still have a conversation about it. But yeah, you're always going to have people that hate. But yeah, Arnold, going back to what's going up, Gorilla Fantasy. Nice to see you here. Always great seeing you. We're talking about Star Wars: The Acolyte. If have you had a chance to see it, let us know. But yeah, we're getting introduced to new lore within the Jedi world that we were never introduced to before. So I love that piece of dialogue that she said about Jedi only ignite their sabers when they're ready to kill. It's so cool. Sorry, it said, regardless, I will not stand for it. And that is the propaganda. Gorilla Fantasy, I'm about 40 years behind on Star Wars. Wow. That's a lot of years. Does that mean you've never watched Star Wars? Because that's what it sounds like. Well, I hope you don't mind the conversation then that we're having about Star Wars. Chris says, I didn't say I hated it. It was okay for the first. I never said you hated it. Just a little early for me to give some feedback on it. Yeah, I never said you hated it. I just said you said it was okay. That's fine. What's going on? Suck my tea. I'm not going to say the whole thing because I don't know what that means. Yo, who wins in a 1v1? Darth Maul or Ahsoka? I think Ahsoka wins, hands down. What do you all think? Sound off in the comments. What do you think? Just the originals and the prequels. Oh, and the Ewoks movie. Oh, the Ewoks movie. Remember when there was a certain time when the Ewoks movies came out and we thought at that time, man, this is the new Star Wars we're getting? This is the only Star Wars we're getting? This is terrible. Why are you calling me a simp? Why? Because I think Ahsoka will beat Darth Maul? I just think based off of their fighting styles, the head they have on their shoulders, I think Ahsoka will outdo Darth Maul. That doesn't make me a simp. Chris, when I responded earlier, the commercial popped up to hear some. Oh, nice. So you think Darth Maul will wipe Ahsoka away? Okay, well that's your opinion then. Why do you think that? How about that? Explain to me why you think Darth Maul would wipe out Ahsoka. Gorilla fans, all I know about Darth Maul is that he got his ass whooped and then was... Well, he got sliced in half, then they got his body back, gave him spider legs, then gave him robotic legs, then he became a leader of a crime syndicate, went out on a revenge tour to find Obi-Wan Kenobi, and then Obi-Wan Kenobi beat him. So, explain to me why he would beat Ahsoka? Just curious. Star-Lord, they can attack and try and be different all they want. The internet doesn't do it by itself. Exactly. Arnold, please be honest. You had to laugh at the design where you got this one weird young Jedi you've seen in the scene with all. Which one are you talking about? The one that kind of looks like a wolf. He's kind of like a wolf creature, because like all the other younglings looked kind of human, right? And then there's this one that just doesn't. And he kind of looks like a wolf man, like a wolf kid, right? Yeah, that was kind of funny. But it's cool too, because you're just seeing, look, there's all these different races that can be Jedi, right? So I think it's funny, but I love seeing that. Gorilla, that's nuts. He got his ass handed to him twice, even with the upgrades. There you go. Darth Maul, to be fair, was played by a real martial artist and stuntman. No, that's true. The original Darth Maul was damn good. No, I'm not taking anything away from the guy who portrayed him in the movies at all. He also played, what is that? Toad in the first X-Men movie. But he has a style that's very, if you see him do something, you know it's him right away. Ray Park, right? That's his name. Because he has a certain style that he always repeats. Especially if he has a stick. It's the same moves he does over and over again, right? Like I've seen him at conventions doing demonstrations, and it's the same thing. It's always the same thing. So in a way, yes, he is a true martial artist. He is a stunt guy, but he's very one note because he keeps repeating it over and over again. Suck says, you seem to forget that Maul won against Obi-Wan 3 times. The only reason Obi isn't dead in episode 4 is because Maul wanted to see him suffer. Yeah, but in, what is that? The last season of the Clone Wars that they put out, they had one final confrontation, didn't they? And then Maul catch the business during that episode? Or am I remembering things wrong? Star-Lord and Raiden's stunt double in Mortal Kombat Annihilation. Oh, that I didn't know. That's also because I never saw that movie. Yeah. Gorilla episode was Obi-Wan versus Vader. Well, I think you're thinking about the Obi-Wan series, Gorilla. But I remember when they released, what was that, season 9 of Clone Wars, like the final season? Wasn't there like a final confrontation between Maul and Obi-Wan? Oh no, Suck, you don't have to apologize. It's all good, man. I like the conversation we're having, so take your time. Arnold, it doesn't matter who wins. It's much more important that we understood this whole story behind it and why Darth Maul hated him so much at all. No, I agree. Arnold, you make a very good point. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter who won or who could beat who, but the story behind it all, the reasoning and meaning behind what both were trying to do at the end of the day, that creates the overall story, right? Girl, oh sorry, no, I was thinking of the 1970s. Oh, you're thinking of the final confrontation of old Obi-Wan, old Ben, and Vader. Yeah. All right, let's go back to talking about the Acolyte and all that. What time is it? All right, I just want to check it out because this stream's not going to be as long as my normal streams. Again, just want to recap and talk about the first 2 episodes of the Acolyte with everybody. Gorilla, you're all good. Don't worry about it. It's all good. Doesn't matter. We're not going to shun you. We're not going to be like, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know Star Wars. Shut your mouth. No, we're not going to do that. We don't do that here. So what other big surprises in the first 2 episodes, or what other elements of the first 2 episodes were some of the things that stood out to you guys? The executive producer of Clone Wars and Rebels says Maul is better than Ahsoka and more skilled. Okay, which producer is that? Not Filoni. Because we all know Filoni loves Ahsoka. Starlord 7, I don't know what y'all talking about. It's okay. Starlord, by the way, did you finish the watching of the rest of your Back to the Future? And it's funny, after we talked about it yesterday, it finally popped up on my YouTube feed. Back to the Future, free to watch on YouTube. Sucks saying the only reason why he loses is that he's too cocky. Okay, yeah, send me a video link. I would be interested to see the interview or the comment. Arnold, when I watched the series today, I somehow had to think of the Jedi Survivor story. Oh, like the video game. Yeah, that's a good point. It does kind of feel like that type of storyline, right? I'm trying to think when are the events of Jedi Survivor? When does that take place? Because that is that before Rogue One? I can't remember what the timeline is like now. Gorilla, I'm just thinking about Maul turning into a spider and the fact that there was a giant spider in the Ewoks movie. Yeah, why spider legs, right? Why is that like a go-to? By the way, is the character of Jackie, Daphne Keene, is she part of Maul's race? I'm just wondering because she does have the horns. She's a different color, but is she like part of that same race? Because it looks kind of similar. Starlord is now currently in the bar doing moonwalks in part 3. Nice. Nice. Part 3 of Back to the Future gets a bad rap because everyone says that's the weakest of the 3. As I've gotten older, I've learned to really appreciate that movie. I think it is a really well done movie. And if you think about it, each movie caters to the era that they're in. So the third movie takes place in the West. It really feels like a Western style movie, you know? Suck says, watch How Powerful is Darth Maul. It's from Key Issues. Okay. I'll search that after I stream. Gorilla Fancy, did you watch Sasquatch Sunset? I did. And I loved it. I thought it was hilarious. It was outrageous, absurd in a way. I love the fact that there's no dialogue whatsoever. I think it's like watching a nature documentary on Big Feet. Is that what you would call a community of Bigfoot? Big Feet? I thought it was great. And I know a lot of people hate that movie. I love it. It's just so absurd. If you're interested, because I saw it as a screening, I went to a screening for it. I recorded the Q&A with the director and writer. They're brothers. I have that on the YouTube channel. So if you're interested, you could watch the Q&A if you want to hear them talk about the movie and how they came about it and all that. So yeah. Did you like it, Gorilla? Did you see it? Starlight, people do make really good concept trailers for Back to the Future 4 casting Tom Holland. That's, yeah. If they were to do a Back to the Future today, not a reboot, you know, I wouldn't be up for that. I could see Tom Holland in that role. He kind of has that kind of fanatic energy that Michael J. Fox has. Gorilla says, I'm 100% going to see it this weekend. Okay, when you do, please, I need to know what you think about it. I really, really would love to hear your thoughts about it. Suck says, what's your favorite Star Wars movie? Out of all the movies, wait, what am I wearing? Yeah, Empire Strikes Back. I had to do a double take. I don't even know where I am right now. Empire Strikes Back will always be my all-time favorite Star Wars movie. Second would be probably Rogue One. I really, really like Rogue One. What about you, Suck? It's so weird calling you Suck.
I'm gonna come.
Suck says that's mine too. All right, awesome. Chris says, so one of the younglings mentioned seeing fire. It was quickly mentioned, but could it be connecting to Order 66 or other dark encounters about to occur in the series? Yeah, Chris, I think that is a foretelling or foreshadowing of what's to be coming. Because remember, this is a period where the Sith never existed before, or at least to the knowledge of the Jedi Council, right? So I think the fact that she saw that could be foreshadowing what's to come, because May and whoever the master is going to be the start of kind of like the introduction to the Sith. So what Geek was saying earlier before was that I also can see this going several seasons that could eventually lead to the unraveling and unveiling of the Sith side of the Force, you know, because this is going to be one facet of it, but then we're going to find out there's probably going to be multiple pockets or whatever. You know, they have a fan club, you know, everyone subscribes to the same Sith newsletter. Hey, we're starting off this new club. We're calling it the Sith. And we're going to be having annual meetings, and we're going to be touring the universe. So make sure you check it out, buy tickets now, and we'll go around recruiting and all that. So we're going to find out, like in 3 seasons, 4 seasons, that there are a multitude of Sith. There's a new order, and maybe we'll get introduced to Darth Plagueis at some point. Suck says, I love the Hoth scenes. The Hoth scenes are some of the best scenes in Star Wars. I totally agree. Gorilla Tom Holland has some real life Sith energy. I could see that too. You're definitely not wrong there. Suck, what's my YouTube channel about? So my YouTube channel, I do a lot of movie reviews. I talk about pop culture. Like the live streams, I usually review pop culture news. I do my live movie reviews. I talk about box office numbers, recaps, and all that. When there's a big show like this, I will try to talk about it as well. So it's anything pop culture related, but mostly around movies and streaming stuff. So if you're into that, you know, you could definitely subscribe, follow, and we'll join in on the conversations whenever they're around. And thank you for asking. I really appreciate it. No, it's not only Star Wars. No, I don't dedicate Star Wars only content on this channel. It's a huge range. You know, eventually I want to do more video game stuff related too, which is something that I definitely have a big passion for, especially since I used to work in the industry. So I hope to slowly, you know, put in some more video game related content as well, and kind of hopefully talk more about my time in the industry and more about old school gaming and how it was back in the day. I'm also, I haven't done it recently, but I also do like a short series called Beyond the Disc, where I talk about physical media because I'm a big supporter of physical media and all that. So, do I make films too? I give filmmaker vibes. Oh, that's the first time I heard of that. No, I don't. I've always enjoyed the art of filmmaking. I love editing. That's one of the reasons why I started the YouTube channels, because I love editing video. And I also kind of do that as a side for people who need help with editing. So I love editing. One of my dream jobs, I've said for the longest time, is I would have loved to be like a full-time movie trailer editor, because I think that job would be amazing. In a way, you're making mini 1 to 2 minute movies, and I love that. So I appreciate the art of filmmaking. Would I ever make a film in the future? Maybe. That could be a possibility if I have the right motive for it. Did you play R2D2? R2R2? Suck, I'm not sure what you mean by that. Let me know what you mean by that question. So people have team of editors for movie trailers. Yeah, I mean, there are companies that their main job is to edit movie trailers. So I love that that is a thing. Gorilla says, I particularly like trailers that mislead you into thinking a movie is something different than what it is. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. That's like the brilliance of what a trailer can do to some people, right? Star-Lord said it would be fun. Yeah, I always thought so. Suck says, did you see The Invisible Man, 1933? Oh, a long time ago. Yeah, those classic Universal horror movies. Classic stuff. I love The Invisible Man. I love The Wolf Man. I love whatchamacallit, Creature from the Black Lagoon. I also love the new Invisible Man. If you haven't seen it, the Elizabeth Moss Invisible Man that came out in 2020, very underrated. So well done. She acts her ass off in that movie. I love it. Definitely recommend you to check it out. Chris says Red Dead Redemption 2. Oh, that's what that means. Oh, okay. Sorry. Chris with the clarification. I never played Red Dead 2. I just completed the first Red Dead Redemption last year. And I had a blast with that game. But I took a little break. I needed a break. But I definitely hope to dive into Red Dead either this year or next year. It's just, there's so much to do, so little time. It's hard to catch up. So I guess they need a team for everything, but especially for miscuts. Yeah. I also love trailers that include scenes that are not in the movie or show. And we get that a lot. There are a lot of trailers that will have certain scenes that kind of misdirect you into thinking one way. That a perfect example is the Avengers. What was it? Was it Infinity War or Endgame trailer that had that big shot of everybody marching along and rushing along? That scene is not even in that movie, or it is, but it doesn't have all those people in it. So I love how they do certain things like that in trailers. It's so fascinating to me. Suck says, I know the fight scenes are so good. In Red Dead, or are you talking about The Invisible Man? Did I know how the first fight scene was made? I'm assuming you're talking about The Invisible Man, right? The Elizabeth Moss one. I never watched any of the behind the scenes for that. I should have, because it's such brilliant. What they did with that movie is special. It is truly special. I should probably do that. Green suit. I would assume that would be it, right? I would probably say the same. but it's so well done. All right. While we're talking about the Invisible Man, I also don't want to kind of like jump off topic of Star Wars Acolyte. I don't mind talking about that stuff, so let's keep that going. But along with that, out of the crew that we have now, all right, we have Jackie the Padawan, Saul, Lee Jung Jae's character, right? We have Yord, Charlie Barnett, and of course we have Amandla. Amandla plays May, and then what's the sister's name? The good sister? Is it Orn or something like that? Anyway, out of those characters, who do we think is going to die in this series? I think Saul is, well, eventually they all die, right? But in this series, who do we think is going to catch the business? I think Saul's going to catch it. I think we're going to lose Saul. Again, it screams Qui-Gon. Like, he is like that Qui-Gon like figure in this series, and I think eventually he's going to catch the business. And I also think maybe Yord there's a good chance Yord might catch it too. I'm curious what you all think about that. Maybe Osha dies and May converts back to good. I think both sisters are going to die in this series. I think it's going to be one of those poetic like endings where both sisters fight to the death. But you have Osha trying her best to convince her sister, don't do this. You don't want to do this. You don't know what I feel. You haven't been there, blah. And it's going to be like this big thing where they go against each other. And it's going to be very reminiscent to Obi-Wan and Anakin. It's not going to be as cringy as I have the high ground. I hate you. It's not going to be anything like that. But I think it's going to be very poetic, very Shakespearean type of ending. And I think both sisters are going to end up passing away at the end of the series. Well, we already know who died first. Well, that is true. That is very, very true. Gorilla, the fact you can make guesses is indicative that you can see the gears turning. Well, that's the thing about doing what I do. Ever since I started really hardcore reviewing movies and analyzing movies, I now do that with everything that I watch. It was very much like when I used to work in the game industry, because I was a game tester and I worked in QA. There was a certain time when any game I played, instead of enjoying the game for what it was, I would go through the game and look for what's wrong with it. You know? So, yeah, I'm always thinking about all of this stuff. Arnold, sorry, bro, was short on toilet. Had to get... Arnold had to exorcise the demons. He had to let go of the dark side. And now he has clarity. Now we can welcome him back to the Jedi Order on the light side. Congratulations, Arnold. Some would say Arnold also...
You blew it!
Out of his ass. So there you go. Too funny. Too funny. You guys are hilarious. But yeah, man, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what other new Jedi we're gonna get introduced to here. Yeah. It's gonna be an interesting series, I think, at the end of the day. You know? And like I said, what I saw so far, I like it. And it sounds like for the most part, most people think the same. Though those who are hating it, I wonder what it is about it that they don't like. Starla, did you hear anything else about why people are hating on this show? Gorilla, always fun to have you around as well, man. Really, I love the chats too. That's one other reason why I do these things. So enjoy your day, and I'll catch you next time, man. Also, for those watching the shorts, please, I'm so bad at this, but if you can do me a huge favor, just make sure you hit that like button on the shorts feed. I would really, really appreciate it. So you could just call me by my name. My name is Rene, Rene, or you could call me LOWKEY GEEK, which is the name of the channel. Either way, just never call me late for dinner. You know what I'm saying? Okay, sorry. That was bad. That was horrible. Chris, late for dinner? Never. See, that's why you're my cousin, man. Love it. Also, I will have to say, is it just me, or isn't it refreshing that it feels like this show is not trying to be more than what it is? Meaning there's no absurd grand opening title. There's no elaborate closing credits. I love that when the episode's done, it's done. That's it. Very much just like how old school Star Wars is. I love that they do that here too. You know, it's just, let's just cut to the chase. Yes, they do like they're previously on, the Acolyte, and they do like a little recap. But once the show starts, it starts. Once it ends, right? That's it. No nonsense. Star said the hatred mainly is directed towards Leslie Headland. I think that's a little unfortunate. And I could already imagine why that is. You know, sexual preferences, the way she handles herself. I know at one point it sounded like she was bashing George Lucas's vision of Star Wars, even though at the same time she praises him for Star Wars. I think this is what happens when you get someone who is so invested and so passionate about something, you know, very, very hardcore into a genre, into a property, that they are just so into it that they may come across as being snotty, snooty, or over the top. And I think she's just one of those type of individuals. And she's not afraid to speak her mind, right? So, I don't know. Arnold saying, I hated being here and watching live stream until recently, but you're really worth being there in live streams. It's really relaxing. Oh, that's so nice of you to say, Arnold. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate that. Thank you. That's so kind. It's, the way I look at this stuff is I just like to have a relaxed moment to talk to people about shared interests. I think it's very important to be able to do that with all the visceral, with all the toxicity that exists on the internet. Sometimes it's very hard for people to be able to be themselves and talk about things that they're passionate about without someone coming in and saying, oh, you're an idiot. Oh, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Suck my ass. Stupid stuff like that. But at the same time, I'm not overly bubbly and happy and I love everything. No, that's fake. There's no way you could just love everything. You have to have opinions, right? So I love that we could just do that here, right? And just speak our minds in a manner that we can be respectable to each other, right? And have conversation. I may not agree, just like with Suck. He said Darth Maul he thinks is better than Ahsoka, and that's fine. I think Ahsoka is better, but it's okay for us to have the different opinions, but we could still talk about it, you know, and then we'll carry on, and then we'll talk about something else. So I love that, you know, that's what I do here, you know. And to be honest with you, 5 years ago, I would have never imagined that I would be doing what I do now, because I am very shy. I have some form of anxiety when it comes to public speaking, you know, putting myself, being in the spotlight. I was never kind of, I was never brought up to be that type of person. I was always very to myself. And, you know, doing this, even today, I still get that doubt and that moment where I'm just like, oh, I don't know if I want to do this. I don't know if I'm ready to do this. And in a way, I kind of just have to throw myself into it. And then once I'm here and once I'm chatting with all of you guys and anyone else that pops up, I feel comfortable, you know, because at the end of the day, we're just all having conversation about the same thing. So Star-Lord, clear your clouded head of hate for once. Yeah. It's just the internet, right? Exactly. Opinion is fine, but I won't be force-fed opinions. Exactly. That's another thing I hate too. Like, I hate when, and I get a lot of comments like this on some of my videos, where someone will say, you're wrong. And I'm like, how can I be wrong if it's my opinion? Opinions are not factual. Opinions are, this is how I feel. So how can you call my opinion incorrect? You know, if I decide to draw an interpretation of Darth Vader and it doesn't look like Darth Vader, and you say, you're wrong, that's not how Vader looks like. I was like, well, this is my interpretation of Vader. I wasn't trying to do an exact replica, you know. So I hate people who do that. Suck says, you will prove me wrong someday. Mark my words. All right. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe one day I will come to thinking that maybe Maul would have a chance over Ahsoka. Maybe. So I don't need validation, positive or negative. But then again, I'm not in the business of making money. Well, there you go. I think that's a healthy way of looking at things. All right, I'm going to turn off the spoiler stuff here. And I think I'm gonna stay on for another 10 minutes, and then I'm gonna start wrapping things up. Besides, with exact replicas give copyright vibes. That's true, though. You gotta be careful with that stuff, especially on YouTube. Okay, I don't know who you are because I can't read your name. What is it that you want me to answer? Let me know. There has to be a question first. And by the way, I don't answer to nobody except myself. Yeah! But if you have a question, maybe I'll be able to answer that question for you. I think people also, I will say this too about Acolyte. I am convinced, and I feel like this goes without saying, especially when it comes to like Marvel or anything like that. There are already people who were hating on this even before it came out. So I'm not surprised that, you know, those who were already hating on things or hating on this, they just doubled down ever since it came out. Sucks says, by the way, when you have a little time, you got to play Red Dead Redemption 2. I will. It's on my list of games to play. So here's something I started just this year for the very first time. I'm doing this thing, and I'm going to be sharing it with the channel too. I've created a pledge where I dedicated around 10 to 12 games that I'm going to play and finish before the end of the year. And at the end of the year, I'm going to do like a recap video of all the games that I've played, how far I got, and my thoughts on these games. A lot of these games are very old, like more than 2 years, 3 years. There may be a new game that gets thrown in there every now and then, but I'm going to share that journey that I have with you guys towards the end of the year. Red Dead Redemption 2 is not on that list right now, but if I have a free moment, I could easily slide it in there. So I definitely want to try to play it as soon as possible. Happy birthday, Zohar. If you are Zohar, happy birthday. I hope you have a wonderful day. Arnold says, I'll stay 10 minutes or something like that. I have to make myself ready for tonight. Tonight, V Rising is finally coming out for the P. Oh, there you go. I know you were really waiting for that, so totally understand. I'm excited for you. I hope you enjoy that, Arnold. Anyone here still playing Destiny 2? I know the recent DLC just came out, so I'm wondering how everyone's feeling about that if you're playing it now. I stopped playing Destiny 2 a long time ago, so. What time is it in where I am? I am in New York, so it is now 1:47 p.m. here, Eastern time. So I think you mentioned you're translating. Where are you coming from? Where are you watching from? I know everyone sound off where they're from right now, just so we have an idea of where everyone's from. I know Star-Lord is in Louisiana. Chris is in Maryland. Arnold is in Germany, right? Oh, Suck is also in Germany. Well, there you go. Wow, it's nice to know that I have somewhat of a Germany audience. So I love that. I already know that I have oddly enough, I have a big audience from Brazil that watches my videos. And I could tell that because I could see it in my analytics. So it's nice that I have some Europe representation here. Suck is from Wolfenbüttel. I hope I said that right. Town where Jägermeister is from. Oh, okay. Awesome. I've never been there. I've been to Germany once. I would love to go back if I ever have a chance, but I've never been to Wolfenbüttel. Born in Romania, but I live in Germany. Regensburg. I love that everyone's from all over the place. I love it. It's great. I think Gorilla is actually from New York from before. The reason why I say that is because in one of the comments in one of my videos, he mentioned something that was very New Yorky. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. I think this guy's from New York. So I think that's awesome. So Arnold, you and Suck could probably speak to each other on the chat. Give me 1 second, guys. I am just checking some of my phone notifications. Like I do always, whenever that happens, here is some phone checking music. Ah, okay. Well, I just got a notification. So my D&D team ain't meeting up this week. So it's something I'll share with you guys now. I play Dungeons and Dragons. I have a group. Chris, who he is here on the chat, is part of that group. We play Dungeons and Dragons every 2 weeks. But unfortunately, this week we won't be having our session. So all of a sudden, I am now free on Friday night. Yay! Yeah, Chris, I just saw the notification pop up. So, does anyone here play Dungeons and Dragons or played at one point? By the way, if you are curious, about our game sessions. We definitely record our sessions, and we post it on the shoot. I forgot the name of the channel already. It's been a long time. Two Can Play That. If you look up Two Can Play That, that is a channel that airs the Dungeons and Dragons sessions that we play. Arnold said he played it 2 years ago. Awesome. Just Another Crit, I think, is the name of the series. It may not be the name of the channel. I could be wrong, though. But yes, we call ourselves Just Another Crit. What is Dungeons and Dragons? So Dungeons and Dragons is a tabletop role-playing game where, you know, everyone kind of assigns themselves as a class of character, and we have a certain person that is the storyteller, or we call them Dungeon Master. And we go through an adventure that they created, and we call them campaigns. And just think of it like playing an RPG in a video game, but it's us using our imagination, and we are embodying ourselves as the characters as we go through our adventures there. So that's what Dungeons and Dragons is. Oh, when you type it up, it pops up? Oh, that's awesome. I didn't know that. It's been such a long time since I've been to that channel, so I had no idea. But that's great. It's great that we have searchability. Let's see. I'm going to do it right now. Oh, that's weird. It doesn't pop up for me. Am I misspelling it? How did you spell it? Just Another Crit. Yeah, that's what I did. And it doesn't pop up for me. Maybe we're not that searchable. Bum, bum, bum. All right, y'all. As I wrap things up here, anyone got any more, any last thoughts about the Acolyte you'd like to share? The algorithm is watching you. Yeah, it's following you everywhere you go. I'm looking forward to next week. I'm looking forward to episode 3. I am so curious and nervous at the same time about whatever the controversial take on the Jedi and the Force is going to be. So definitely tune in next week and hear my thoughts on whatever that revelation is going to be like. It's going to be an interesting one for sure. And up until the end of the season, I will be using Wednesday mornings to do like these like quick episode recaps and reviews. And starting next week, I'll do more of a recap. I feel like recapping the 2 episodes here is just it's a lot to do. And I don't want to make this a long stream, really. So like I said, this question might be misplaced, but is the Ukraine war a thing in the US? Yes, it is. It does get a lot of coverage in the media right now, especially since this year is an election year for our presidency. So it's obviously a big hot topic here. Yeah. But we don't talk politics on this channel. That's something that I've learned a long time ago. We don't talk religion or politics. So just want to put that out there. Would rather avoid that kind of discourse that may pop up. But to answer your question, yes, it is a thing here in the US. All right, Arnold, enjoy the rest of your evening. Enjoy V Rising. I hope you enjoy the game. Would love to hear your thoughts on the game when you play it. I think that's a perfect time for me to call it as well. Suck, that's a smart rule. Yes, it is. Oh, Chris, 2 Can Play That pops up. Oh, okay. Gotcha. All right, y'all. I'm going to call it for now. Thank you so much for tuning in. Big shout out to Star-Lord, Chris, Suck. I'm just going to call you Suck. I hope you don't mind. Arnold, of course. Then we had previously Geek Ledger. Great for them to stop by. Gorilla Fantasy. Thank you so much for tuning in. Kevin Davis, of course. and anyone else I may have missed. Thank you so much for tuning in this morning, this afternoon, this evening, depending on where you're from. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day. And Suck with one last reminder. Remember Darth Maul video. Yes. You can call me Hardy. Okay, Hardy. I'll try to remember that. So, Hardy, thank you so much. May the Force be with you all. And I will catch you all. My next stream will be this Friday. I don't know the time yet because I was invited to a special event that I hope I can talk about this Friday. But I also will be planning to do my reviews on the 2 new movies opening this week, Bad Boys Ride or Die, and The Watchers. So if you're interested in hearing my thoughts on those movies, check out my Friday stream. I will announce the time on the channel when I get a better idea of when that's going to be. So until next time, stay cool, stay classy, stay safe. I will catch you all next time. All right, peace out, y'all. Bye-bye.